Brett Kreger. I'm the managing broker here in Oklahoma City, and I want to talk with you about how to prepare for your open house. Preparation is as important as actually showing up on a Sunday to sit your open house. If you are not prepared, if you don't know the house, if you don't know the area, if you don't know the neighborhood, you're not going to have as much success capturing clients and providing value. You have to understand when someone is looking for a house in a specific area, they might have been looking for several weeks or even months, and they might know a bunch about that neighborhood, a bunch about the schools, about the local markets, about the local development going on around the area. And if you come into an area and you don't know any of this stuff, and that buyer perceives that they know more than you, you're providing zero value and they're not going to use you as a realtor. So you have to understand preparation, understanding your product, understanding where you're at and what you're trying to sell this person is going to be very valuable for you and allow you to have more success. So how do we prepare for our open house? Right off the bat, you have to make sure we're driving people, foot traffic to our open house. So on Mondays, we're going to be putting our sign in the yard in front of the house. Our open house sign, hopefully you got a big red one or a couple of small ones. You're going to put an open house sign in front of the house on Monday so that people driving by all week, all the neighbors, people cutting through the neighborhoods, everyone sees that on Sunday we're going to be having an open house from 2 to 4. Second, we need to put our directional signs up by Saturday. Our directional signs should lead people from a main road to your property in your neighborhood without using a GPS. So if you're doing an open house in the back of a neighborhood and you have to make 4 or 5 different turns to get to that house, you're gonna have less people just happening by. Less people are just gonna see the property and come in. They're all gonna probably have to see it from the MLS or from other websites. So if you're doing open houses that are more that are better for foot traffic, you should only have to make 1, 2, maybe 3 turns to get to this house inside the neighborhood. But we need to have directional set up that allow you to find that house without using your GPS on your phone. I should be able to turn into the neighborhood and find it based on your yard signs. A couple of tips about putting out directional signs. If you put them out too early, they're gonna get stolen. People in the neighborhood, people walking by, kids riding their bikes, they're gonna get stolen. So put them out on Saturday at the latest. Typically Friday is a good time to do it as well, unless you know this neighborhood is worse and people take them more often. Also, if you're putting them in people's yards, knock on the door, explain that you're doing an open house and you would like permission to put a directional sign in their yard helping people find the open house. Sometimes they'll say yes, sometimes they'll say no. But if you put it in someone's yard and they don't want it, they're gonna steal it and throw it away. And these things cost money, right? You don't want to have to buy 10 more every single weekend. So ask permission and don't put them out too early or they'll disappear. But know that you have to put enough out so that you can find it without using your phone. Very important. The third topic, extremely important. This is what we train everybody, and I preach it every single time we talk about open houses, but I'll bet 80% of the people that do open houses still don't do this. This is the #1 way, easiest way to set yourself apart and guarantee that you're gonna pick up a client if you do these properly. If you do this one thing properly, you're gonna have way more opportunity and way higher chance of actually capturing a client. If you preview 3 to 5 houses in that neighborhood before you do an open house, you will have infinitely better opportunity capturing a client. And what I tell people is go preview, find 3 to 5 houses that are similar but different from the house you were sitting in. So if you're doing an open house, go find 3 to 5, find one that is larger, and this is how I always tell people to do it. Find one that is larger than your house, maybe an extra bedroom or an extra 3 or 4 or 500 square feet. Find one that is smaller, maybe one less bedroom, or maybe 3, 4, 500 feet smaller. Find one that is the same, so it's the same bed count, about the same square footage, but maybe just a different floor plan. And then find one that needs to be fixed up, or one that is already fixed up, and then find one that needs work. So we got a bigger house, a smaller house, the same sized house, one that needs work, and one that's already renovated. And if we go and preview those 5 houses, no matter what the conversation turns into when I'm talking with a buyer in that open house, I can guide them to another house that I've already previewed. So if they say, I love this house, but it's not big enough, perfect, I've got one down the street that's larger. Or this is too big and I don't know if we need this much square footage, perfect, I got one that's smaller. Or maybe I want something that's move-in ready and I don't want to put any money into it. Okay, I got one that's just been renovated. Or the vice versa, right? I want something I can put some elbow grease into and really fix it up on my own and get some equity. Awesome, I got one down the street. So when you can preview these 5 houses, you've got, no matter where the conversation goes, you can pivot to something that you're knowledgeable about. And when you preview a house, you're gonna be 10 times more knowledgeable about that house. You're gonna have intimate details about that house that you can't see from looking at photos, right? If the listing agent on that house is good, maybe they're gonna not show you something that's not so desirable. Maybe they're gonna make the kitchen look really big when actually it's really small. Maybe they're not gonna show you that wall that's painted lime green or the bathroom that has a hole in it because of a water leak, right? They're not gonna show you these things. But when you walk through them, you have this knowledge and you can talk about these properties with intimate detail. You've walked through them, you've touched them, right? The photos look great, but it's actually really small. Or they didn't show you that there's a big sewer drain right behind your house and it floods. Or maybe it's underneath some power lines, right? So you know things about these houses that most people, just by looking at photos, don't know about them. So go preview these properties. And I'm telling you, if you do this, you're almost guaranteed to pick up a client if you get your average number through there. If you get enough traffic through there and have the right conversation, you're gonna be able to pick up a client because you have so much knowledge. And what they're gonna see is, as you're talking about these properties, they're gonna see that you can provide value to them because you know something they don't. And that's when they're gonna wanna work with you. That's when they're gonna wanna give you your information. So preview 3 to 5 houses. And if you're doing open houses consistently in a certain area, then you don't have to do this every week. Maybe you preview 3 to 5 and then one of those 3 to 5 sells the next week. So then you just gotta go preview 1. But if you keep bouncing around all over the city, you're gonna have to preview 3 to 5 every single time. So do it in a consistent area and you can start to learn more about the area as well. Next is print black and white printouts, MLS printouts of the property. Very important. We don't use high or thick cardstock, glossy print, beautiful colored images of our house, right? Remember what we talked about in understanding the open house. We are the product. I am the product. I'm trying to sell me to you. I'm not trying to sell this house to you. So anything I do to try to make the house look better, you perceive as me being a salesperson and trying to sell you something. So if I get these awesome printouts and have all these awesome things about the house, or try to bake cookies to make the house smell good, all these little things that most traditional realtors try to do is a waste of time and energy. Do a black and white printout of an MLS sheet, because all they need to know is how much it is, how many square feet it is, how many bedrooms it is. That's all they care about. The rest of it's just junk, right? The rest of it's fluff. So when I give that to them, it's clear, right? If I give them this big, beautiful thing, I'm trying to sell this thing. Don't make it about the house. It's not about the house. It's about me and you connecting and having a conversation and trying to get you to buy me, right? So don't make it about the house. Just print your black and white sheet, nothing fancy. The next, something most people don't do that gives you an edge, is print the info sheet, or what we call here in Oklahoma City a single line or a one line of the properties that you've previewed. So if you previewed 3 to 5 properties, print out a single line explanation of these, and it'll put the address, the bed count, the bath count, the square foot, the days on market, the list price, and it'll have them in a one line. And so you can see them all next to each other. And so what you can do is, if maybe they don't like this house, maybe they're being guarded with their information, you can present these and say, well, here's a couple other similar houses in the area. Have you seen any of these houses? And now you're providing value in that sense. And you can also, maybe they're just not giving you any information. You can actually write your name on that and send it with them and say, drive by these houses. If you like them, give me a call. I'll come open it up for you. So printing that, providing more value, and when people are just stonewalling you, not giving you information, not answering your questions, it can kind of be a last-ditch effort. And then when they leave the property, they've got your name on it, and if they drive by one of the properties they like, hopefully they'll call you and you can open it for them. But you're also providing more value by presenting other options for them, not just selling this house. Remember, it's about us, it's not about the house. And then lastly, we want to make sure we advertise on the MLS. If you don't get people to the property, you're wasting your time, right? We talk about this in understanding the open house. Don't do an open house somewhere because it's your listing or because you like the area or anything like that. Make sure you're doing an open house because it gets good traffic. I've had listings in the past that I got such awesome traffic, I hated when it sold. I was mad when I got that commission check because I knew every week I'm picking up 2 to 3 contacts because of how great the traffic was. So make sure we're advertising on the MLS to maximize our traffic. We want to get as much foot traffic through this place as we can, because the more people I talk to, the more information I can get, the more clients I can pick up. So making sure we're preparing properly, that we're gathering information as much as we can, and that we have something to talk about. When we're in their open house, we want to be able to talk, have an educated conversation about an area or a neighborhood. And if you're doing these things, you're going to drive traffic and you're going to be having knowledgeable conversation about the product. All right, guys, good luck.